a spur with all he's got. He's gonna ride for 8 seconds. Wants to be the man on top. He's gonna ride for 8 seconds. Gotta lift on that buck rein. He's gonna ride for 8 seconds. Everybody's gonna know his name. Oh yes, he rides for 8 seconds. And everybody knows his name.
Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay.
To me, being an Arizonan is what we're doing right here. Like an hour or two ago, found out you guys wanted to shoot a little piece, and you said, you know what? Can you find somebody with some color, somebody that'll do Cave Creek proud? You don't have to look far in this town to find somebody that'll do you proud. This is my good friend Terry Smith, and this is what Cave Creek's all about. Local rancher, town councilman, good friend, and occasionally drinks a beer with us, so I like him.
Yeah, being an Arizonan, in other words, I was born here in 1945. Most of the time I just tell people I came in 1945 because everybody came to this place. But being an Arizonan, I moved from the city up here, like I say, bought land in '70, moved actually up in the '80s, and this area up here, Cave Creek, and my good friend Larry Wendt here with his buffalo chip has done everything to save the western flair of our town, and that is Arizona. We are, well, Scottsdale used to be the most western town. It's not. You take a look at our town, Cave Creek, ride your horse in, tie it up at the restaurant or the bar, and that's western, and that's what we are today. That's what we've been for years. The biggest thing people see on the way up is the saguaro cactus. They stop alongside the road, they got to take their picture next to them. We got our trees, they just don't have leaves, that's all. So that's the first thing they see, but if they come up to Cave Creek, they go to the buffalo chip, they're seeing the West. And Larry, you can tell them about the West because he's done everything to preserve the western flair of our town.
Yeah, you know what, I just think that, doggone it, if you're going to come to Cave Creek, all I ask, and I think you probably heard this from Bob Bose, just don't pretend like you're the last person in. You know, Cave Creek's a unique area. I mean, we've got beautiful terrain, gorgeous topography and vegetation. The temperature's a little cooler than Phoenix. It's unique. I mean, it's nothing to ride up on your horse like Terry did today and park next to somebody in their Beamer. Just don't try to come to Cave Creek and turn it into what your idea of perfection is. I used to have people come into the buffalo chip all the time. And man, this is gorgeous. This town is happening. This is so western, so beautiful. You got a Harley on this side and you got a horse on this side. How do they get along? They get along great. And then that person, the next question, well, you know, is there any place for sale around here? And I used to be dumb enough to say, you know what, old so-and-so down at the end of the road's got a place for sale. But not anymore, because it's starting to get to where people want to come in and change it. They love it when they first see it, but then the horses make too much dust and they draw flies and the Harleys make too much noise. And so, not that we don't love people, I mean, I'm in the people business, but just come up to Cave Creek, enjoy it for what it is, but don't try and be the last one in and make it your way. I'll tell you this much. This used to be one good-looking man. Until three things happened. He got kicked in the face by a horse. That can't be helpful. He's been in a lot of, his mom used to feed him peanut brittle with a slingshot. If you know what I'm saying, he's had a hard life. But, no, I was joking.
No. Well, that kicked in the face thing, that's just a $150,000 facelift. That's all that was. I was on a ride just north of here. There's a cowboy, what we call a line shack back in the hills, and we pack in to this line shack, and on the way up to it, going up the creek, there's what we call a waterfall. And being the nice guy I was, the girl's horse slipped down, bent her stirrup, so I was straightening out her stirrup, and I have to say it was my horse. This is her horse, this is my horse, his butt's here. I'm a horse person. He's eating grass by a little stream. He was happy. So I knelt down to put that stirrup on, looked over, and square in the face. I've got 10 metal plates, 56 screws, and a screen holding my right eye up.
2 of those screws are loose. Still. They're still loose.
That's all right, Larry. I don't care.
Yippee-ki-yay.
दिल बहका मेरा दिल को मौसम छूने लगा ये राहें हंसी दिल को यही दे एक सहारा दिल 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 है हमारा ये मेरा दिल है हमारा
Good morning. Welcome to First International Bank and Trust.
Mom, it's Saturday.
Well, I guess I could wait until Monday to deposit your birthday checks.
Whoa, let's not get carried away here.
Okay.
Mobile banking from First International Bank and Trust. Just another way to live first.
There you go. Checks are deposited.
Hey, hon, can you transfer some of those checks into my account?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. This bank's just closed.
Open your account at livefirstmobile.com.
Big Boy Toys. DTE.
Saddle up tight and Western wear. Dressing up or dressing down.
We got you covered all around.
Rodeo, ranch or show.
One stop here, you're good to go.
Jeans and jewelry, hats and boots.
All the Western flat suits.
Saddles, halters, bits and bridles.
Everything to keep you riding.
Western.
Every day.
All day.
All the time. Western. Every day. All day. All the time. Saddle up tight and Western wear.
At Prairie's Edge Casino Resort, we don't just say Minnesota nice, we live it. Come discover for yourself. Classic coin games, hot new video slots, and the lowest table limits. Enjoy our seafood buffet, prime rib, and everything in between. Stop in for the day or stay the night. We're big enough to have everything you want, but small enough to know your name. We are Prairie's Edge Casino Resort, Minnesota's friendliest casino.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Almost 3 years ago, on Thanksgiving, it'll be 3 years ago, I told you I was in law enforcement. I'd retired from law enforcement. I was retired a whole 9 days and decided that I needed a hobby. I was big into the Western cooking and chuck wagon competitions and Dutch oven and horses and bull riding and all that wonderful Western stuff. And I decided I needed to get me one of those places. And so the Buffalo Chip happened to be available. Max McGee, his daughter was running it, Marla McGee. And I took my retirement that I'd worked for 27 years, and I bought the buffalo chip. Well, I've been fortunate. Without a doubt, the buffalo chip has grown tremendously every year. From this little 800 square foot dive bar with no food where people get shot, not that regular, but to a huge operation with 120 employees and 7 acres of indoor and outdoor venue, live bull riding and everything. Well, Thanksgiving 3 years ago, I was pulling into town and I saw smoke. And it was 6 in the morning, and I thought, that's weird. It's not a fireplace probably at 6 in the morning or whatever. And I got closer. Sure enough, it was coming out of the buffalo chip. I always try and look at things on the bright side, and I thought, well, I had 400 reservations for Thanksgiving Day for turkey dinner and a Green Bay Packer game. And so I pull up, I see it's coming from the chip, but I'm thinking, well, one of the ovens might have caught on fire or something. And, we'll get it put out, we'll get back in business today and take care of things. Well, when I opened the front door, you could see the whole place was full of smoke and enveloped in flames. So we called the sheriff's office, and there was the good news, bad news thing. Good news is your building's still pretty much intact. Bad news is we know it's an arson and you're going to be closed until we investigate it. Well, in that 17 minutes between when they thought they had this little fire put out and 17 minutes later, the whole building was engulfed in flames. And I knew I had lost the buffalo chip. That had been my life, my retirement, everything. And I just loved it. I wasn't smart about it. I didn't think there was anything that would ever take the buffalo chip. But an arson in a 1951 wooden building will do that. So my first inclination was, you know what? If someone set fire to your place, and they did get a suspect and everything, if someone set fire to your place, they definitely don't want you in this town, Larry. Maybe it's time to really retire, And that was my first thought. I'm going to retire. Well, within minutes, my town council was out around this big fence that they'd erected to do the investigation. Hundreds of people, customers, my employees were calling. The governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, calls and says, Larry, I hear Lambeau West, it's called Lambeau West, is on fire. What's happening? Long and short of it, there was just such an outpouring that I could not close and go take up fishing or golfing or more horseback riding. The town came together, the customers came together. They raised $155,000, part of it here, for my staff to take care of them.
We had auctions, we had all kinds of fundraisers. The buffalo chip is the heart of our community, and that's what they did. Everyone. I mean, there wasn't a person in town that wasn't down here contributing. So we did, and that I never would have thought that was, I didn't think about it, of course, like Larry did, but all we knew is we had to save the chip. We had to take care of those employees, because it was, at that time, these people that we've all known, they were out of work, they still had bills to pay, and the town came together in a big way. And I think, what do we got, 6,000 people, 7,000 people maybe here all total, and we raised money and we did it, and we took care of the Buffalo Chips employees until they get themselves back on their feet.
They did. And you know what? So if you ask, something that's changed in my life that made me say, wow, don't take things for granted, make sure you treat people right. That's to me, you probably change a little bit. Law enforcement's a career where you see a lot of things that change you. But nothing changed my heart, I think, like seeing the way this town took care of that place. I wish I'd insured a little better. You know, again, I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I didn't think anything was going to take the whole chip. I had $150,000 in insurance. My great insurance company paid me that $150,000 the next day, but it's cost us, you know, $1.5 million to rebuild it. But I tell you what, this community and the support is still here. It's still here. I call Jerry and say, hey, you know what, I'm in a pinch, man. I need a couple rooms in 2 days. And she'll say, you know what, I got a couple lowlifes from Phoenix. I'll throw them out of here. No, she doesn't say that. But she finds rooms to take care of it. It's that way with everything up here. It's a great community. And that changed my life.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Looking for the perfect Northwoods vacation spot? Look no further than Washburn County, located in beautiful northwest Wisconsin. With nearly 1,000 lakes, hundreds of miles of trails, great attractions including a scenic excursion train, and of course incredible events like the Spooner Rodeo, you're sure to have a great time in the Northwoods. Washburn County is also home to the Namakagon River, Wisconsin's moving national park, a must experience for outdoor enthusiasts. To plan your trip, visit washburncounty.org.
Charbonneau Car Center provides a low-pressure sales experience with great customer service and a variety of models to choose from. We can put you in the vehicle that fits your lifestyle. No gimmicks, no games. Charbonneau Car Center, great service, great savings. Buick, experience the new Buick.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I've had a pretty darn good life, you know. I've had the medical things. I was kicked in the face, like I said. The doctor told me at that time, he said, you're darn lucky. If it had been up in my forehead, if it had been down in my throat, on my side, back, I would have been dead.
I still don't think everything's right in
Well, I know lots of people agree with you. But so anyways, they said they could put all that back together, and I went through that one all right. And the other big one in my life, again, is medical. I went in, and the doctor went down and did an upper GI and found a tumor that would have been pancreatic cancer. And I had an operation called a Whipple, which the survival rate just from the operation is way down there. And I made it through that, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge to me, if I can make it through this hospital stay and get up and go, and change my life. And the other thing that changed my life is turning 70. I mean, you take a look when you turn 70 and you say, this is it, and I am living every day. And my bucket list is my life. I decided that. It's just this life here in Cave Creek, is where I want to be. I don't want to go to Australia. I don't want to go to Europe. I love it here. I have a couple cabins up in the mountains I can go to in the summertime and be cool. I love my life, and I live it now, and I think I live it more because of what I went through in my medical conditions. So that's about the only real challenges I've had. I've been very, very fortunate.
So you know that surgery he's talking about? I called him and I said, Terry, I heard you were having some bad surgery. And I made this little joke. I said, wrecked him. It damn near killed him.
You know, it did just about kill me. Yeah.
So, you know what? I think my therapy, I've got a couple of them. I've got some beautiful kids that are all grown now, and now I've got 3 grandkids. And I'll tell you what, that's pretty good therapy right there. I talked about coming out of a law enforcement background. You know, in law enforcement, there's 2 types of people, the good guys and the bad guys. There's just nothing in between. And you get this critical way of thinking that if they're not one of you and wearing blue, they're a bad guy. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's not reality. And I get to see that every day. Every day, you know, if we have 10,000 people a week come through that saloon, 8,000 of them are people that I've never seen, don't know. But the things you learn, the things you see. I'm going to give you another little story. Can we tell stories here? You want a story. All right, so I'm going to tell you one. So last year, we do a lot of stuff for the wounded warriors and veterans and everything. So we had a big fundraiser. They're having one today for service dogs. But we had a big fundraiser for wounded veterans. And I've got to tell you, it's not one that all my staff volunteers to work. And it's because a lot of these men and women, they're not in good shape. You know what I'm saying? They've lost limbs, they've been burned, and it's not the normal, what you would think, the fun, rowdy, have a great time dancing and bull riding. So we had a live bull riding for him, and one of the vets comes up and he says, hey, I want to ride a bull. And I looked at the guy, 2 artificial legs, 2 artificial arms, had been burned severely, and I just said, you know, are you sure you're up to it? He said, I'm up to it. Come on, I can do this. I was still hesitant. You know, I said, well, we're going to have you fill out a waiver, a liability, in case you get hurt. And then the stupidity of what I said sunk in. And he reinforced it. He said, so you're thinking I'm going to pull a muscle or something? And that's the reality that can hit you every day that you don't think about. He got on that bull. He lasted 2 or 3 seconds. I don't even care. We've had big name bull riders there. We had Del Vecchio there last night. Gary LeFew. We've had some big name bull riders. I don't think those 2,000 people ever gave a bigger ovation than when that wounded veteran got on that bull and rode. So I learn stuff every day. I'm going to learn stuff at church tomorrow morning. We have a church. We make sinners out of them all week. And on Sunday, we have cowboy church. They ride their horses in. They bring their dogs, their goats, their bulls. They bring everything in. There'll be 200 or 300 people there tomorrow, hopefully. And I'm going to learn something at church, and I'm going to be thankful.
I've been a cowboy most of my life. I punched a lot of cattle, got in a few fights, and I've been around town more too. I made a little